At the end of the tough season for the GT4 European Series, powered by RAFA Racing Club, that has taken them all across Europe, it finishes here in Saudi Arabia, in Jeddah, on the new Jeddah Corniche circuit. The first time that GT cars have raced here, and the first time that GT4 European Series has been outside of Europe. The furthest it had been was the Slovakia ring, and now it has spread its wings to come to this remarkable facility. Yesterday they had a race in the floodlights. Today, higher temperatures, bright sunshine, because it's approaching 2 o'clock local time, with the race due to start in just over a quarter of an hour, and with a track temperature at 45.7 degrees centigrade. Titles are on the line, especially for the drivers, Silver and Pro-Am. Am already decided at Monza. 34 cars to do battle. We lost one overnight, oddly, which finished on the podium in its class yesterday. The Roman Wozniak Porsche has been withdrawn, but 34 cars and a really interesting race in prospect, given especially that yesterday's winners, who had qualified on pole for this race, Robert Consani got a grid drop, and that puts him to 4th place rather than starting on pole position. But he does keep the point for setting the fastest, therefore the pole position lap time, and that could well be crucial in his and Benjamin Lariche's bid to beat number 78 McLaren. But this is the car that inherits pole. Tom Empson and Alex Denning, number 77 McLaren from Elite Motorsports. They took 2nd place in the race yesterday, and the McLaren drivers ready for 60 minutes of racing with a mandatory pit stop. There was quite a bit of damage yesterday, a couple of sizable accidents, one that took out Bekke Beschler's BMW. He got into the back of Finn Zulauf's Porsche very early on. The damage did for Zulauf as well. That in turn compromised their hopes of winning the Pro-Am Championship, Finn Zulauf and Max Kronberg. Then a bit later on we had another large accident that befell number 5, Jamie Day and Ruben Del Sart, Aston Martin, and that is another car I fear that we're not going to see in this race, given the amount of damage that it sustained yesterday. Given the temperatures, given the sunlight, no surprise that the teams are trying to keep some of the glare away from the cars, keep the cabins as cool as possible. They're the L'Espace Bienvenu BMW, the Benjamin Lassen ready to go. And yesterday we had a safety car period, we had a full course yellow into a safety car period. Let's see what happens today. David Addison trackside, Antonio Rankin is down on the grid, and so too is Ricardo van der Ende, driver of that BMW.
Ricardo, your M4 is looking very racy this weekend.
Yeah, we're very happy that we finally can compete because it hasn't been the best year for us. But we're managing to get 3rd in the championship, and it feels like being best of the rest, because the McLarens and the Audis have been flying all year, and we're going to do our best to secure a P3 in the championship.
It's really nice to see you up at the front of the grid. It's a very long run down to turn 1. How are you going to make sure that you continue to be at the front of the grid?
Well, it's up to my teammate Ben, because he will start. He puts it on P2 today. Yesterday I had a really good start from P14 to P6. So yeah, he doesn't have to move far. He only has to overtake one, so we should be good.
And of course, if you do manage to snatch that P3 in the championship, what would it mean to you?
It will mean a lot. In 2020 we win the French championship. But in 2021 we came 2nd, 22 we came 2nd, 23 we came 2nd, so now finally, we need to get it.
Best of luck, thank you.
Thanks.
Ricardo van der Ende then sharing with Benjamin Lassen. Benjamin will start, as you've been hearing, and that car promoted to the front row of the grid with a penalty for Robert Consani in Audi number 3. This is the car that leads Silver in the championship, number 78 McLaren. It's the car started by Tom Leben, and he will give way to Josh Rattican. They're on the cusp of taking the championship, but as long as they're in the top 8, irrespective of what their rivals in number 3 Audi do, they're going to be good. But that's not to say they're going to have an easy hour of it. Consani and Lariche are going to try everything they can to snaffle away the crown. And Robert Consani looked really impressive yesterday, both in his race stint, he got the fastest lap, and in this qualifying session he was the fastest prior to that grid drop. The grid drop came for balking number 77 McLaren on a push lap, so that's where the penalty came, and it drops number 3 Audi to now 4th place on the grid. 10-minute board being shown. You can see how busy the grid is, lots of people here soaking up the atmosphere. The teams have all had a great welcome from the Saudis, and not just the circuit people, but also the residents as well. Everybody keen to show off not just the venue, but their country as well, and they're standing alongside number 3 Audi. Benjamin Lariche. In the car is Robert Consani, who was elated to be a race winner yesterday. and all focused on the job in hand. Normally he's a little bit more bouncy than that, but Robert Consonny is in thought as he looks now ahead to turn one. It'll be a rolling start, so once the cars leave the grid, they will cycle through in that 2x2 formation, ready for the lead car, as it will be, to peel off and the race to get underway. Now, in Pro-Am, the demise yesterday of Finn Zulauf and Max Kronberg has really made that quite open, with just 4 points between the Stanislas Safronov, Alexander Weintraub partnership and Kronberg and Zulauf. So that's another battle that we'll be keeping an eye on. But what about Silver? Can Josh Rattigan and Tom Leben do it? Let's rejoin Antonia.
Josh, I've spoken to you a lot this season because you guys have just been doing so incredibly well. You and Tom have been unstoppable.
Yeah, no, it's been an incredible season. Obviously, we pushed every single race. We've done everything we could have. Coming down to the final race of the season now, we spoke about it. We're just going to treat it like any other race.
You have quite a comfortable lead. Does that mean that there's a little bit of pressure off your shoulders?
Tiny bit, just a little bit. But again, we're just going to treat it like any other race. We're going for the win no matter what.
Now, with all of these cars on the grid, it's a very packed grid. There's so many cars and a very tight couple of turns to begin with. How are you going to make sure that you don't end up in any of the tussles?
Well, obviously, I spoke to Tom about it. Obviously, I experienced it yesterday. It was hard, it was tricky. One mistake and it's millimetres from the wall. So I spoke to Tom about it. Hopefully he can stay out of trouble and come through.
All the best, thank you.
Thank you.
Silver Championship beckons potentially for Josh Rattigan and for Tom Leben. They start on the second row of the grid alongside their key championship rivals, Robert Consonny and Benjamin Lariche. That first couple of corners is going to be fascinating. The number 12 BMW, started by Gabriele Piana. That's had 2 rebuilds over the weekend. Beke Beschler put it in the wall in qualifying, and then he bounced off the Finn Zulauf Porsche into the wall yesterday. So the front definitely doesn't look like it did. For one thing, it's blue, and it wasn't blue earlier on in the weekend. They've had to find bits of bodywork to repair it, but well done to Borusan Automotive for getting that car out on track. Gabriele Piana, last year's champion in silver, drove that type of car, but for a different team, and with Michael Schreier as his co-driver in the Offer Racing by Bonk Motorsports squad last year. So you're looking down at the back of the grid, which will include the Mercedes on the right as you look, of Alex Papadopoulos, the American who had a win at Misano with Luc Ibanez. But Alex seemed to struggle in qualifying yesterday. The partnership has worked pretty well together this year, although Luc is the quicker of the two. But Alex really did not seem to be happy or get a rhythm in the qualifying session. So that car, number 15 Mercedes, should be one to watch once we go racing to see what progress can be made up the order. Mathieu Villagomez in number 82. The Racing Spirit of Le Mans car that he shares with Jamie Day, and they again were part of a good front pack battle yesterday. Mathieu Gomez, second season in European GT4 racing, and another man to watch. Now, what about Pro-Am? Finn Zulauf and Max Kronberg are fighting for the crown, and Finn Zulauf yesterday picked up damage. He will do stint 2 today. Let's hear his thoughts pre-race.
Finn, you're starting kind of in the middle of the grid here, and the championship really is coming down to the final few races.
Yeah, yesterday was not the best race. We were a bit unlucky, but yeah, we hope to make up for it today. And yeah, we're still in the hunt, just 4 points behind, so I think it's still everything possible.
In this last race, yes, like you said, you only have to outscore your opponent by 5 points. How easy is it going to be to find those 5 points?
Hard to say before the race. I think we just do our best and yeah, try to finish as high as possible. Try to keep as many cars in between us, and then hopefully everything's gonna be all right.
Well, have fun. Try to enjoy it. Best of luck.
The way the drivers explain it, it all sounds so straightforward, doesn't it? But as we saw yesterday, doesn't matter what your game plan is, you cannot legislate for what goes on around you. Finn Zulauf yesterday was doing his best to keep out of trouble, and then all of a sudden, a couple of cars touched ahead of him. He had to lift. Into the back of him went Beke Beschler, who didn't have time to lift. Beschler, in turn, bounced across the road and did damage to his own car. All of a sudden, we ended up with a safety car period, and the race looked completely different. That's the second of and the indeed only unscathed Borusan BMW of the weekend, the car that Pedro Ibrahim shares with Jagish Gedich, and it will be Pedro Ibrahim to go first. Pit window 25 to 35 minutes, unless, of course, that's delayed for a full course yellow or a safety car period being in application at the time. The Jeddah Corniche circuit, 6.176 kilometres long. It's largely flat. There's the slightly banked turn 13 hairpin. There's more after the hairpin than before, if that makes sense. You kind of think that's the halfway point of the lap, but it's about 2.5 kilometres up to the hairpin, and the rest of the 6 and a bit is the other side, where there are some really fast sweeps and also a couple of big braking zones. Matt Nicol-Jones, the man that runs Academy Motorsport, ensconced behind the wheel of Mustang number 62. That car in Will Moore's hands yesterday picked up a little bit of damage, but it would be great to have the Grunt and Go Mustang taking a win. MNJ, a man to watch, no question about it, and he will start this final race of the year from 8th on the grid. So there is the scene on the front row, with the gull-wing doors on the McLaren, contrasting with the rather more touring car shape and style of the BMW, to be started by Benjamin Lassen. And as the countdown continues, the grid is cleared of all the VIPs and all the guests and all the extraneous personnel at the 1 minute board. Engines will fire, the mechanics will scarper. That's another car that's had to be repaired overnight. Broken front right suspension yesterday did for Simon Birch, and Ivan Eklicek will start today. He's another good character is Ivan, and one to watch because he didn't get to drive yesterday. So let's have a quick walk to the front of the grid where number 77 of Tom Empson sits on pole position. That car, that Elite Motorsport McLaren, seems to have been the really unlucky one. Any bad luck, any mechanical dramas going, seem to have floated the way of 77 this year, whereas 78's gone on with racking up points and taking 2 wins. Indeed, Rattigan and Levin won both at Spa. Last time out at Monza, it was the pair of wins to Consonny and Lariche. Antoine Leclerc raced hard yesterday in the second stint in the Alpine that he drives for Silver Cup glory, and he shares that Code Racing development car with Vincent Beltoise. So as the countdown continues, we are almost ready, I think, to have the grid cleared, engines to fire. We have Silver, we have Pro-Am, and we have Am. The Am battle won at Monza by Laurent Hergon and Pascal Houteau in their Schumacher CLRT Alpine. Enzo Juliet, who shares number 9 Toyota with his new for this year co-driver Etienne Chiali. And they had a win at the very start of the year at Paul Ricard and have never been able to match that pace. It's been a really odd year for the Toyota team. They've been there or thereabouts, but never after the opening race at Ricard have they seemed to be able to unlock that last couple of tenths. That car is significant, number 75, because Noam Abramczyk and Paul Petit went well yesterday, and there was then some discussion after the race about the categorisation of the drivers. The car remains in Pro-Am, but Noam Abramczyk, I think, proved to be rather faster than people expected, and so that car has been given an extra 12 seconds to serve within the pit stop. The pit stop, 74 seconds, pit in line to pit out. You are allowed a 1 second tolerance. You can be under by up to 1 second in one of the 2 races. McLaren 78 used that joker second yesterday, so they've got to be absolutely spot on for that pit stop time today. The SRO officials then on the grid, making sure that it's just the engineers that are there, plus the marshals. And very shortly, when the 1 minute board is shown, the grid will empty, the engines will fire, and here we go. 1 minute board shown, engines on, and with the whistle blowing. So now the mechanics know that it is time to head to the sanctuary of the pit lane. They've done all they can do. It's now up to the drivers to keep out of trouble on the first couple of laps. And yesterday, as I say, we had one early safety car followed by a further interruption which delayed the pit window. Let's see what we have today. Totally different feel for this race. It's daylight, it is a lot hotter, and arguably there's a lot more on the line now. It's the last roll of the dice for Sam if they want to win a championship. The Lamborghini Huracan lead car will accelerate away in a moment, ready to take the field around on this final formation lap, a chance to get not just warmth into the Pirelli tyres, but get the pressures up as well. You're on board with Max Kronberg, looking at the back of Julien Piguet's similar Porsche, the Cayman 718 CS RS, the Club Sport RS. And as the lights go to green, away blasts the lead car then now, ready to send the cars down towards turn 1 and to get the final race of the year underway. There's a Mustang that's not got going. 61, Marco Signoretti's away now, but rather badly delayed. So Marco Signoretti doesn't lose his grid position because he wasn't overtaken by everybody, but a bit of a concern. This is the grid. Tom Emson on pole position, Benjamin Lessen alongside, with Tom Levin third and the penalised Robert Constantin quickest, but starting fourth. Gabriele Piana, reigning champion, fifth, ahead of Mathieu Villa-Gomez, Pedro Ibrahim, and eighth, Matt Nicol-Jones. It's Ivan Ekelchik, ninth, and Antoine Leclerc starting 10th. Enzo Juliet will go from 11th alongside Noah Abramczyk, then Baudouin Detou and Marco Signoretti in number 61 Mustang, ahead of Julien Biguet and Florian Brichet. Max Kronberg starting 17th alongside Jean-Laurent Navarro and ahead of Jean-Mathieu Leandri and Laurent Ergon. It is Cindy Goudet next alongside one of the Saudi drivers, which is Ahmed bin Kanan. Behind him, Alexander Weintraub, leading in Pro-Am from Charles Dawson, Florent Grisot, Julien Ripert, soloist, and then Andrei Solokovtsev lining up alongside Richard Wolf. Paolo Maloney Senior, will start alongside Xavier Fonenfant. Then it is the BMW of Ungar Erdem alongside Alex Papadopoulos at the rear of the grid. Another car, in fact, that we lost yesterday was Rima Jafali's car with Ahmed bin Kanan. Sorry, with Bandar Al-Asai, because Al-Asai on his outlap from the pits after taking over the car lost it at turn 4 and did a lot of damage, so we lost number 26 as well. Field heading to the grid. This is turn 16, where as the field continues to generate the warmth in the rubber. Gradually the cars towards the end of the lap be put back into their sort of Noah's Ark 2x2 formation, ready for the rolling start. Joel Doval, the race director, keeping an eye to make sure that not only is everybody side by side, but nobody accelerates until the lights go to green. Like many a circuit, of course, the Jeddah Corniche track no different, in as much as the start line in a slightly different place from the finish line, a bit further up the pit straight. Benjamin Lariche in the background there, nervously waiting to see what goes on in the first couple of corners. And just wonder whether Josh Rattigan's going to be a bit nervous as well, watching Tom Levin, because he's right alongside his championship rival. Robert Constantin has absolutely nothing to lose going into turn 1, whereas Tom Levin needs to be just a little bit more cautious. It may pay dividends for the McLaren just to slot in behind the Audi and sit there, because the Audi has to be ahead, but even if the McLaren finishes in the top 8 in the silver class in this race, championship is done. So they really could play the points game and just let the Audi get ahead, follow it home. That would be enough to take the championship. Let's see how they decide to play. This is turn 22, which is another of those sections of the circuit where there's a big brake zone required. And because you've been travelling so quickly, it almost catches you by surprise. The BMW of Gabriele Piana with a borrowed front section of bodywork, hence it's blue, not white as it was yesterday. It sort of works, I think, on that car now, the blue and the pale blue and the white livery. This is Max Kronberg, his car repaired by SRO Motorsports after the damage at this part of the circuit, really, yesterday. So now you can see the cars getting into formation. You can see the variety on track as well. We've seen McLaren and Audi and BMW up near the front. There's Alpine, there's Toyota, there's Aston Martin. Mercedes AMG represented on the grid as well. Don't forget the Ford Mustangs either. And the field now heading towards turn 27. 60 minutes of racing to round out the year. And a great season it has been for the GT4 European Series, powered by RAFA Racing Club. The RAFA Racing Club part of the championship, if you like, is the organisation run by Rafael Martinez. Normally, he is to be found with 2 cars on the grid. Not this weekend, sadly. But his support for the championship has been very, very gratefully received all season. And we look forward to having him back on European racetracks next season. The cars now, out of turn 27, put themselves into formation. They make the run up towards the safety car line, then to the timing line, then to the start line, and in a moment the lead car will dive into the pit lane. It does so now. It is up to the front row drivers then of Tom Emson on pole position, of Benjamin Lessen in the white BMW alongside to control the pace. Our last hour of GT4 is ready to get going. Then Noam Abramczyk, Paul Petit's car pulls out of the draft, has a look. That might get looked at as the lights go green, and a great start by the BMW. It is going to be Benjamin Lessen who leads, and to the inside line goes Leben. He's lost out to Robert Consigny, who goes round the outside. Pedro Ibrahim clips the curb. Up the inside goes another of the Aston Martins, which look like Matteo Villagomez, but it is Lessen in the lead. And Tom Leben has indeed dropped back behind number 3 Audi of Robert Consigny. That's not the end of the world for him, but he'll want to make a little bit of progress. A big dive up the inside going down towards turn 4 by Pedro Ibrahim in the all-blue BMW. And he's just about got away with that, although Marco Signoretti went out wide in the background. Ibrahim on the tail of Matt Nicol-Jones, look, who gets all sideways there. Matt Nicol-Jones hangs onto the slide, but Ibrahim dives through on the inside going through turn 9 and then into 10. 11 is where he goes way out wide all over the curb, Pedro Ibrahim, and now slots back on track. But the race lead battle, nose to tail. Third for the Audi, not enough, they've got to win this. So Lessen leads the way in number 17 BMW as they come out of the hairpin. Turn 13, slightly backed as you see. Gabriele Piana has also jumped ahead of Tom Leben here. Different shapes, different sizes, different sounds as well, all making up a GT4 grid as nose to tail. Lessen leads down through turn 16, and he has got Tom Emson right up behind him then. So two totally different ways of looking at the GT4 puzzle. Rather taller touring car style BMW over the low line aero-friendly McLaren. Audi third, BMW fourth, McLaren fifth, Aston Martin sixth. They accelerate now down towards turn 22 for the first time. Quick part of the circuit, heavy braking zone, go left, go right, that corner reprofiled in fact just to give the drivers a better line of sight through it, and then speed builds once more down towards turn 27, the left at the end of the lap. Start under investigation. Drivers' feet nailed to the boards, and then they get to the braking zone. For turn 27, as this is where Robert Consigny tries to have a go at Tom Emson for second place. He's closed right up under the tail of the McLaren, which tries to defend, but Consigny keeps on coming. That Audi has been really good around here, and Consigny, the former rally driver, loves this circuit. He was dynamite in testing. He's up to second place. Got pole position for this race, got fastest lap in yesterday's race. He absolutely excels around this circuit. Back on the inside, though, comes Tom Emson into turn 1. Can't get fully up alongside, and he doesn't want to go around the outside. The two cars just touch ever so slightly, but Consigny is ahead, and he's working his way forward all the while here. Robert Consigny, former rally driver, as I say, we were musing yesterday as to whether or not the reason he's good around here is because proximity of the walls doesn't face him at all, a bit like some rally stages. Off the road goes Pedro Ibrahim, back onto the road goes Pedro Ibrahim, keeping Ivan Ekelchik at bay. Ekelchik in turn has got Signoretti behind him, and then Noam Abramczyk, whose car seemed to get out of the line rather early at that start, and maybe that's what's partly being looked at. Max Kronberg goes by, number 30, there, yellow and white and black Porsche. Kronberg needs to be ahead of Alexander Weintraub in Pro-Am to have a realistic chance of winning the championship, and he is right there at the moment ahead, so that's the main thing, but there's a lot of racing yet to go. This is how Pro-Am looks to be at the moment. Zulauf and Kronberg would be 6 ahead in the championship of Weintraub and Safronov. We'll park that and come back to it because, as I say, a lot's going to happen, but right now, were the race to end this way, it would be championship honours in Pro-Am for Finn Zulauf and for Max Kronberg, and it's Kronberg behind the wheel right now. Field accelerating its way then down to turn 22 once more, and up front Benjamin Lessen very shortly he's going to be pondering how he fends off that very quick Audi. Consigny edging closer, taking Tom Emson with him, still fourth. Gabriele Piana sliding his way out of turns 22 and 23, and Pedro Ibrahim just goes completely off the road, and others behind, judging their pace against the car ahead, do likewise. So all of a sudden there's this huge wave of cars going wider and wider and wider. Laurent Hergon has dropped back a little bit on this lap. He was 21st in the AM Championship winning Alpine, and for the race lead up the inside goes Consigny at turn 27, and he goes through. Robert Consigny takes over the race lead. Audi ahead of BMW, McLaren third, and this is exactly what Consigny needs to do. From fourth on the grid, having been fastest in the qualifying session, he's now hit the front. So remember, you score in your class, not your overall position, but it would be maximum points if things finish this way for Consigny, where is Leben? Fifth. Still in the top 8, in other words, so it's still championship advantage to Tom Leben and Josh Rasican as there. Matteo Villagomez gets at the inside of Matt Nicol-Jones, retakes a place that he'd lost in a straight line. And as you've got two big grunty cars together, the Aston and the Mustang, what's behind them but the little Alpine, hanging on in there in the hands of Antoine Leclerc. Porsche, Aston Martin, Toyota, Porsche, 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 Toyota, Aston Martin, and there the Mercedes of Charles Dawson, who was a race winner this year in GT4 within British GT, sharing with Seb Morris. That car 21st when he came over the line, so Charles Dawson edging further forward. We saw him on occasions in this championship last year, but he's looked really good, really impressive within British GT this year. Big look on the inside of Lessen by Emton, came to nothing, and Consonny in the lead, not yet getting away. Out of turn 13 they come, and now the speed building once more as they blast their way down towards turn 16. That's almost upon them, getting a replay of the start. Look left, because with the lights on red, look, 75 Porsche of Abramczyk does dive out of the line. Others, I think, were doing it on the other side, but that was the one that rather caught attention. But a good getaway by Consonny, not such a great start by Tom Levin in the second of the yellow elite McLarens, and that's what not only dropped him behind the team speed car Audi, but also behind one or two others on that first sequence of corners. But everybody seemed to get through without any drama, any damage. So Consonny leading the way. Still chasing along behind is there, Benjamin Lessen. And that BMW in fourth place of Gabriele Piana could well be one to watch, because Piana now is lapping slightly quicker than those ahead of him. He's not in a battle, and therefore he is able to go after the traffic just a little bit up the road. His teammate Pedro Ibrahim has a big dive on the inside of Antoine Leclerc there into turn 27 and goes into 8th place then in the all-blue BM. Nicely done that by Ibrahim. Through he goes. The race leaders now put 3 laps in the book, and you can see Pedro Ibrahim on his toes again up the road there to try to fend off the Alpine, and a big late braking moment from Marco Signoretti throws the car up the inside of Porsche number 40. Now, they made contact here yesterday, those two cars, and it broke the suspension on the Porsche. That was in the hands of their co-drivers, but they are being very respectful today, keeping away from one another. Signoretti ahead of Eckarczyk now, 10th place for the Mustang, 11th for the Porsche, and Eckarczyk has got, as you can see, Noam Abramczyk tap behind him. The number 40 red and white Cayman, being run by the Razzoon team that we've been used to seeing within the GT2 European Series this year. Lots of Caymans on the grid. Very attractive sort of bullet-shaped car, the Cayman 718 iteration. A nose to tail here, coming up towards the hairpin to the inside line looks Abramczyk, and Eckarczyk just able to close the door in time. Best of the Toyotas a little bit further back in the hands of Enzo Julier, 14th. Their 15th is Max Kronberg, and he's second at the minute in Pro-Am. And he in turn is heading another Porsche trio, isn't he? Because he's got Florian Brichet and Julien Piguet behind him. Piguet winner with Alban Baruti yesterday of Pro-Am in the race, and Alban Baruti was way up the order early on, did a really good job. With the Red Sea in the background, the Toyota Aston battle comes towards us. And at the back of that, Charles Dawson also trying to make some progress. Alexander Weintraub on the inside of the Aston, Dawson on the outside of the Mercedes. Up the curb he goes. Got the inside line, right up against the wall, Charles Dawson, down towards turn 22, couldn't make the move. But the Mercedes certainly proving that it's got the pace. The NM Racing Team car that he shares with Andy Cantu, who himself is a quick driver. Charles Dawson really going nicely here. 21st at the start of the lap, sitting on the back of Alexander Weintraub's car. And if he gets ahead of Weintraub, of course, that's taking more points away from the class championship leader. And Dawson is about to commit to that line on the inside into turn 27. Weintraub on the outside line, just ahead of the pair is Cindy Goudet in the Toyota Supra. And Dawson gets a good line out of the corner, but he hasn't quite been able to get up the inside, so he switches sides now, hoping that Weintraub gets boxed in by the Toyota. But in a straight line, the Mercedes does not have the grunt to level with the Mercedes. The Mercedes now, the Aston Martin, I should say. The Aston Martin now makes the move against the Toyota on the outside line, and job done. Alexander Weintraub goes through, gets sideways, goes off the road though, skips over the curb. Now, arguably, you could say that he's gained an advantage by being off the road there, because he kept the place. Let's see whether he hands it back and fights another day. Doesn't look like he's going to, and it means that Charles Dawson has a big dive up the inside, going through turn 4, inside at 4, outside at 5, through he goes. Really nicely done by Charles Dawson there to get ahead of Cindy Goudet and to carry on the pursuit. There's Alex Papadopoulos, who's come up behind the pair as well now, so he too is trying to make a bit of progress. Papadopoulos presses on. So right now, Alexander Weintraub keeping the NM Racing Team Mercedes duo at bay. Lead gap though is finally opening up. It was 1 second last time, meaning that Consani is now ahead from Lassen, who's got Emerson behind him. Gabriele Piano I thought was closing, but he's fallen back a little bit, lost about 8/10 on that last lap. Maybe that BMW not totally 100% after its accident yesterday. So Piana 4th and Tom Leben in 5th place, which is still good enough to win the championship. Actually, Gomez goes through. He is 6th. Or maybe not, because Matt Nicol-Jones has got back ahead of him, hasn't he now? Yes, he has in the Mustang. So Matt Nicol-Jones back up into 6th, down to 7th goes Villa-Gomez. And drama for Weintraub, and that is significant for Pro-Am. That is Alexander Weintraub's Pro-Am Championship hopes done at turn 18. The car in the wall, and with a wheel ripped off, it ain't coming back from that. So now the door is open for Finn Zulauf and Max Kronberg to win Pro-Am in the championship. But that Aston is big time damaged, isn't it, as you look at Piana trying to get ahead of Tom Leben, and doing so coming out of turn 2. We're going to have a full course yellow, and that is imminent. Full course yellow coming in 20 seconds, and when the full course yellow is activated in less than 10 seconds, we'll have everybody slow right down, and the race will be neutralised now. So full course yellow called for. You can't overtake, you have to maintain the delta speed, and it's all because of that big shunt for number 7. Now, was it self-induced, or was there any contact? Weintraub is ahead here, look. Comes out of 16, just loses it, gets the back into the barriers, around it goes. Wheel ripped off, bodywork damage. Here it is from another angle. He puts down the power. The back just breaks away. Actually, it looked as though that wheel was already dislodged, as though it had broken, and that's what pitched the car into the spin. I don't think he lost it. I think there was a breakage, which is why the car spun on him. So I'd like to see that again, but I reckon Weintraub had already had a failure, and as he turned the corner, the suspension gave way. That's why the car spun, because it's a strange place to lose it. But all of a sudden, Alexander Weintraub finds himself not only facing the wrong way, but at very high speed, clattering the wall. So that means it's the end of the race and the end of the championship dream for the people that won the opening race at Paul Ricard, Stanislav Safronov and Alexander Weintraub. They won the second at Ricard as well, but then got a penalty, and that dropped them off the top step of the podium, of course. So full course yellow, and you can anticipate we will go safety car for the resumption of the race, and we're about just under 12 minutes away from the opening of the pit window. Cars weaving their way through turn 16. So in Pro-Am on the track at the minute, it is Noam Abramczyk ahead from Max Kronberg and Julien Piguet in 3rd place. Jean-Laurent Navarro is 4th, Cindy Goudet 5th, and Charles Dawson is 6th. The NM Racing Team Mercedes now with Papadopoulos from the back of the grid, having got past his teammates and indeed being up into 19th place overall. And Finn Zulauf and Max Kronberg now just need to bring it home, and the championship effectively is theirs. There is the rebuilt, repaired Porsche after its dramas of yesterday, and Max Kronberg will look across and think, yeah, well, we had the drama yesterday, it's your turn today, as out of the race then is Alexander Weintraub. Also, Laurent Hergold, the AM champ, has been in strife somewhere because he's lost a lap. Now, the car did lose ground, but has fallen a long way back, and that is the Paolo Meloni BMW that he shares with his son Davide Meloni in the pit lane, as you can see. And maybe he's run over a bit of debris somewhere, needing a new tyre, but he takes the opportunity, does Paolo Meloni, to come in while the lap times are slower, while the race is being neutralised like this, and he also knows he'll be able to catch back up again on the next part of this process, which would be a safety car, which will therefore allow the cars to go faster and get the tyres up to temperature for the restart. Through turn 27 they come. So race order, Robert Consani ahead, in number 3 Audi, number 17 BMW second, Benjamin Lessen, and third is number 77, the McLaren of Tom Emerson. In fourth place, Matt Nicol-Jones, number 62 Ford Mustang. That's a car that's quietly got on with the job. Well, if a Mustang does anything quietly. And up into fourth place, it's gone well. Fifth is 78 Tom Leben in the championship leading McLaren. That's enough, just sit there in the top 8, take the points, win the championship ahead of Gabriele Piana, who dropped back into 6th. Matteo Villagomez down to 7th. 8th is number 11, there it is with the back to you, the all-blue BMW of Pedro Ibrahim. He's ahead of the Alpine of Antoine Leclerc, and then the second of the Mustangs of Marco Signoretti, the red and white car as opposed to the blue and white car, if you like, which is Matt Nicol-Jones' colour scheme. So, number 7 needs to be retrieved, and likewise, the safety car, no doubt, will be deployed. It will pick up the race leaders, then we'll go to safety car conditions when the road is clear, ready for the resumption of the race. Race leader on lap 7 at the moment. And as the flags fly, quick recap of where we were up to the start of the race. Drivers enjoying themselves on the grid, soaking up the atmosphere, and have a look at number 3 Audi off the start as it accelerated away. The door closed in the middle by Benjamin Lessen, so Robert Constantly had to go to the outside. Got himself ahead of the championship rival 78 McLaren. Pedro Ibrahim skips up the curb on the inside, but everybody getting through pretty much unscathed. 1 or 2 slightly sideways, slightly wide, but no real harm done. And then Robert Constantly up to 2nd place, putting himself past Tom Emerson through turns 1 and 2 at early lap pinch point, and then eventually through into the lead of the race. These are the highlights of earlier on. Robert Constantly having taken the race lead at turn 27, then getting away, and the Alexander Papadopoulos Mercedes getting itself up through the pack, chasing after Alexander Weintraub. Now have a look at this replay. It's the cut there. The wheel's already loose, I think, before he hits the wall. And he doesn't hit it at such an angle, I don't think, to really break the suspension there. I'm pretty convinced that maybe after a curb strike or 2, there'd been a failure, which is why the car went sideways. Does Piana have a problem? Yes, Gabriele Piana, who dropped a couple of places, has got a wobbly splitter at the front of the rebuilt car. That took a big whack into the wall yesterday, and the splitter dragging on the ground. Hear it from the trackside cameras, you can see it there, and if you can see it, so can the scrutineers. So they may want that car in, or they may say to the team, all right, we'll let you carry on to the window, but when the car pits, you need to do something about that. So the recovery vehicle still on track, trying to remove the crippled Alexander Weintraub Aston Martin. Of course, the local officials here well versed in moving race cars from what they had to do at Grand Prix, where they had Formula 1 and Formula 2 and Carrera Cup events, but it's rather different moving a GT style car than it is a single seater, obviously, so slightly different process and a slightly longer process just to move the cars off the circuit. So Piana and Leben 5th and 6th going through. Gabriele Piana was ahead of Tom Leben just before the race was neutralised, and just as we had yesterday, this interruption to the race edging us closer to the pit window. Gabriele Piana flaps his way past. There's the sister car, the non-flappy BMW of Pedro Ibrahim, and Robert Constantly continues to lead the way. What he wants is for as many Silver Cup cars as possible to jump ahead of Tom Leben, who is 6th. Now, he's got to be in the top 8, remember. There's not that much leeway now. It's been tempting to sort of shrug and say, yeah, it's all okay, play the points game. But in the second stint, they cannot really afford to drop too far down in silver. This is how we stand at the moment, but it's at the moment just 5 points the advantage by the McLaren of Rattigan and Leben over Constantly and Larishi's Audi. And as I say, if another couple of cars were to get past, or certainly 3 more cars to push it out of the top 8, then it's a very different situation altogether. So Eddie Ives, the man that owns Elite Motorsport, will no doubt be fully cognizant of that, tell the drivers the same. Tom Leben's co-driver Josh Rattigan will get in. He will be given the task of making sure that car does not drop any further down the order. So through they come. Another lap done. That is now 7 in the book. And as people were predicting pre-weekend, when the accidents come here, they're pretty damaging ones. You saw the damage done to the Aston as Weintraub went around. Robert Consigny, the race leader from Benjamin Lassen, and Tom Emson in 3rd spot. Matt Jones 4th, Gabriele Piana 5th, Tom Leben 6th, Matteo Villagomez 7th, Pedro Ibrahim 8th, Antoine Leclerc 9th, Marco Signoretti 10th. Drivers getting themselves ready to go. The pit window may end up being postponed if we are still under yellow flags like this, but the drivers need to be ready, because if it is postponed, it'll be then open, if you like, on pretty short call. So you need to be ready to go. And a reminder that the safety car can go quicker than the delta speed under a full course yellow. That's why it's used, so that the cars can then speed up, get the tyres back up to temperature and to pressure, ready for the resumption of the race. Right, Benjamin Lariche watching his car lead the way. What are his thoughts? Antonio is with him.
Benjamin Robert's had an incredible first stint. Your opponent now is slipping down. If he gets down to P9, you win the championship.
Yeah, it's very close. We still believe to the title, but we must win the race, so we just focus on that, and we'll see what's happened.
It seems this weekend that your R8 does have superior pace to the Artura. Do you think that that will translate in the second stint?
Yeah, it's very close behind, so yes, I'm focused on the race. Maybe, yes, we'll see what's happened. Just focus to win the race, because if we finish second, the McLaren is champion, so yes.
You're on the right track. Best of luck, thank you.
Benjamin Lariche, as he says, he's got to win. Come what may, they've got to win. And as I've been making the point, number 78 McLaren just can't really afford to give too many more places away. Yeah, okay, at the moment it's in the right place, in the top 8. It's keeping out of trouble, but can't afford to slip too much further down the order. So we have lost Alexander Weintraub. I think we've also possibly lost the BMW of Onga Erdem, number 70, which has lost a couple of laps. And there is champion-elect McLaren number 78, Tom Leben at the wheel, and Josh Rattigan, I should say, will take it over. Alex Denning will take over the sister car from Tom Emson. Right, the road is clear of car, as in it's been moved, but it now needs moving to a place of safety. And the track clearance as well has to be done, just to make sure there's no debris lying around that if anybody runs over would damage a tyre. The pit window will be postponed, understandably, because we're almost at that point. Just a couple of minutes and we're going to need at least one more lap, so the pit window being delayed. Gabriele Piana flaps his way past. In a very energetically waved yellow flag there, as the drivers come to the end of lap number 8. Wasn't the biggest accident we've had of the weekend in GT4, but a significant one, certainly for Weintraub, as that puts their championship aspirations in the bin, very definitely. The only thing now that they can hope for is that number 30 Porsche drops out of the race as well. Could happen, I guess, given how drama-filled the race was yesterday, and I think it's certain until the checkered flag comes out. Matt Jones there on the back of Tom Emson. The Mustang is another car that needs some good luck. And as they come now up to turn 27, certainly one more lap. There you can see number 77 McLaren. Same team operates the 2 yellow perils, but it's sort of every man for himself. You pay for your drive, but it would not be out of the question for number 77 to get the call to say you're going to have to help your teammate win a championship. And is Gabriele Piana heading for the pit lane? Maybe they've said on the radio that you need to come in and sort out that damage. So Piana is in. I'm not aware that he's been given a black and orange flag and the pit window is not open, but Gabriele Piana comes in. Now they can't do the driver change, and come what may, that car has to come in when the window opens. He's too early anyway. Even if the window had not been postponed, he would be still too early. So Gabriele Piana comes into the pit lane, and I think it must be purely to try and let them do something about the damage. So in he comes. The Borasan team will go to work. most useful part of any mechanic's toolbox. Good old tank tape. You can't leave home without it. But Gabriele Piana thinks that's his stint done. And the splitter has to be lifted up. Gabriele, you've not done yet because your stint's not over. The window is not open. You've got to get back in. So Gabriele Piana thinking his work is done. Well, if he doesn't get back in the car, they're going to be in real strife. So the team need to have a quick word and say, oi. Now, we've gone safety car. That's why everybody has suddenly speeded up. So the safety car can go at a quicker pace. Motorway speeds are how it is described for the safety car, rather than the slower full course yellow Delta speed. This will get the race back underway, and I suspect that at the end of the restart lap, the pit window would be opened by race control. But we'll confirm that as soon as we can. The race has 34 minutes still to go. There is Gabriele Piana. In the background, Bekke Besler having a look. And if they go a lap down, there's precious little point going back out, really. But they are still working on the car, so watch this space. So Robert Consony is your race leader in the Audi from Benjamin-Lessen in the BMW. The sunshine glinting off the almost mirror-like Red Sea. The safety car will be in this lap, so they've had one blast behind it to just get things back up to temperature. But then, of course, at the end of the lap, Consony backs right off and scoops everybody up. And under the safety car, a massive lock-up for Paolo Meloni. He's already been in the pits with a tyre issue. They just put a big flat spot on that one as well, as he was pressing on, trying to get up behind the safety car train. Nearly binned it, going through turn 22. Right, look the other way. Drivers weaving around to get the warmth into the rubber, the pressures, so they speed up, but then ready for the restart. So Consony slows right down and stacks up everybody behind. I think we just had a couple of cars go past the pits. Yeah, Meloni and Laurent Hergon have only just gone by, so they've got a lot of catching up to do. However, in the meantime, the race is ready to restart as the cars come now down through turn 25 to 26. And Robert Consony has, so to speak, gone. He's pulled the pin, and he's back at race pace then. You can't overtake until you get to the timing line, but we are effectively racing once more. The speeds are there, and Robert Consony, the leader in the Audi, heads them out of turn 27 up towards the timing line. And as they come through, pit window not yet open, the green flag is shown, the race is back underway. Now you can overtake as you get over the timing line, and that is exactly what the BMWs are trying to do. Up the inside line goes Pedro Ibrahim. He tries to get himself back up past Mathieu Villagomez, and he does so on the inside at turn 1, but Villagomez has the inside line at 2, and the BMW is just ever so slightly ahead as they blast their way now once more through 3 on towards 4. And the lap rides on around them. There to the inside line goes Antoine Leclerc, and he outbrakes Villagomez as well. But Villagomez comes not only back on the inside, but does it off the road. Really ought to give up that place and let the Alpine go, but he does not. He finds himself back ahead. So Mathieu Villagomez may well incur the wrath of race control for doing that, because he was off the road and kind of gained an advantage, you could construct an argument to say. Marco Signoretti is keeping Ivan Achelchik at bay. Behind him is Noam Abramchik. And here are the race leaders coming up towards the hairpin. We're on lap number 10. We've got 31 minutes and change on the clock. And the field all bunched up once more after that interruption from the safety car. Come now through the hairpin. Back onto the power. Speed building once more as the cars blast their way to turn 16. Now, how in all of this is Tom Leben getting on? He is in 5th place, gifted a position, don't forget, by Piana pitting. So actually, the BMW's demise has given a bit more of an advantage to the McLaren. It has gained back a place, it has left it less vulnerable within the top 8. That said, you've still got the Pedro Ibrahim BMW charging along, having easily dispensed with Mathieu Villagomez, and Villagomez there, look, he's under real attack from Antoine Leclerc. Then it's Signoretti, then it's Achelchik, then it's Abramchik, so that long, long line continues to build. Race leaders coming down towards turn 27 once more, and this will be the end of lap number 10. Race leaders over the timing line, and it is Consoni ahead. Last time the margin was 7/10 of a second. It's up to 8/10 of a second now. And coming back at Lessenes is Emson. And the pit window is now open. So that means that we've got a few more cars diving for the pit lane. So pit window opens and some from the back of the queue now start to serve those mandatory pit stops. As Finn Zulauf there, number 30. Sorry, Max Kronberg, I should say. He will give the car to Finn Zulauf, keeps at bay Florian Brichet, who he's just overtaken. And behind the pair is the charging Alex Papadopoulos in the NM Racing Team Mercedes, who has a good luck up the inside. Couldn't go through. Off the road goes Brichet. That gives Papadopoulos the chance to challenge, but it's Kronberg that ends up running wide. So off the road was Brichet, but both he and Papadopoulos have gone by. Kronberg then losing places, not in his class though. It doesn't actually affect his class position. He might feel a little bit aggrieved about that, but has that Porsche got a problem? It seems to have dropped back quite a long way all of a sudden. Still going, lost 3 or 4 lengths, but ahead. Papadopoulos thinks about getting on the inside line of Florian Brichet at the hairpin, can't do it. Pit stop window, as you can see, is very much open. Stops cycling through. And away there goes Armand Varuti. Also got the Enzo Juliet now to be driven Toyota Supra by Etienne Shelley. That car making its way down the pit road. So a good dozen or so serving early stops, getting those out of the way. And in the case of an entry where you've got differing pace, markedly differing pace of driver, put your quicker one in as soon as possible. If it's the quicker driver who starts, leave him out for as long as possible. Maximise the time you have for that driver. And that's exactly what Robert Consoni is doing right now, as second, third and fourth start to bunch up behind. Matt Nicol-Jones doing a very good job in the Mustang, as you might anticipate, given Matt's ability, closing up onto the tail of Tom Emson. And Consoni will stay out for another lap. Lessenes will do likewise. Emson will do the same. Nicol-Jones likewise. Also, Tom Leben stays out. But Signoretti is in. Ekelchik is in as well. So we've got 2 cars out of that leading line from, in fact, 8th and 9th place. He's diving for the pit lane. So within this pit window, the clock ticks on down. Pedro Abraham turns his BMW out of turn 2. Cars blast their way on this 12th lap of the race. Robert Consoni now leading by 9/10 of a second, so he's escaping ever so slightly up the road. It's not exactly by a big margin per lap, but here for second and third and fourth, if they continue to squabble like this, then that should play into the hands of the race leader. One car is under investigation for its pit stop time, and it is number 33. That was the car started by Xavier Follonfin, now taken over by Jean-Paul Dominici in the Alpine, but if it was markedly under on the pit stop time, that's going to be looked at. And it was over a second short. So you can't use your joker second because you're on the wrong side of that as well. 11/10 short on the pit stop, so it looks like a penalty may well be coming ultimately for 33 Alpine. In the meantime, Robert Consoni still leads, and Alex Papadopoulos, coming to the end of his stint, has just done the absolute best first sector time, up from the back of the grid to 12th place. Alex Papadopoulos, it's been a good drive. I did suggest at the start of the race he might be one to watch. A final warning for track limits, Florian Brichet, number 24 Porsche, so he's got to be careful for the remainder of his stint. So we're going to have, no doubt, a few more out of that leading gaggle of cars heading for the pit lane at the end of this lap, as they can see Matt Nicol-Jones trying to go around the outside of the McLaren of Tom Emson. Not going to be able to do it there, and Emson covers off the inside line, so Matt Nicol-Jones not really able to switch sides and duck up the inside coming through turn 27. This Tilke designed circuit certainly lends itself to good racing. We've seen that all weekend. As to the pit lane comes Tom Emson out of 3rd place then, as he was coming off the corner. He'll drop down as a legacy, but in he comes. And also in, had a feeling it might have been Papadopoulos in the background to give way to Ibanez there. Then after a good stint, Tom Emson is in. In fact, it was Baudouin Detou, the other driver for the pit lane in his Aston Martin. There is in the background Gabriele Piana's tank tape special BMW, going no further, brought it in. They did what repairs they could, but they've elected not to send it out. and the driver change goes for 77. Alex Denning ready to get on board. This is the leader. This is Robert Consony. He's done the fastest lap of the race as well, just like he did yesterday. Rattles it up the curb. He's had 2 track limit warnings as well to the one of Benjamin Lessen behind him. Tom Leben's had 3 track limit warnings, and Pedro Ibrahim now is on 6 track limit warnings in the blue BMW, so he's got to be very, very careful. So the elite team studying the stopwatch, and they're right at pit out as well, so in theory once that car is released, it's easy for Alex Denning not to have to worry too much about what he does in the pit lane. He can just accelerate away and keep accelerating rather than have to crawl up the pit lane on that delta speed. In the AM Cup right now, this is the lead car, and it's a popular lead car as well because it is the Saudi Racing entry for Ahmed bin Kanan and Rimba Jafali, who will take over on the pit stops. Rimba Jafali, former single-seater racer, of course, Saudi Arabia's first female racing driver. A lot of home support for her this weekend. Racing driver, role model, but she is not yet behind the wheel. She'll get in very shortly after bin Kanan has done his stint. Matt Nicol-Jones still thunders on as he tries to close on Benjamin Lessen for second place. Lessen 11 tenths back from Consony. Now we're running out of window here. It's not closed yet, but it's almost being pulled closed. It's ajar rather than open, and that means that this time 78 Tom Leben will come in to give way to Josh Rattigan as they try to get closer to winning a championship. You're riding with Leben now. Gets to the speed limit line at 50 kilometres an hour, stands on the anchors, and then slowly makes his way all the way up to the top end of the pit lane. Max Kronberg coming in as well to give way to Finn Zulauf in order to try and finish off their season as the Pro-Am champions, and there are the silver champion-elects. As in gets now Josh Rattigan. Will Moore will take over number 62 from Matt Nicol-Jones, and he is absolutely committed to getting ahead of Benjamin Lessen. Nicol-Jones last time around did the fastest lap of the race, so the Ford Mustang going really nicely here. It looks good, that mid-season livery change to the red, white and blue, reflected across the 2 cars, and this new for this year Evolution model with a really great sound it makes as well. There's a Ford Mustang in GT3 here this weekend. We've got the pair in GT4, and hopefully we'll see more and more of them in future seasons. Consony getting away now while Lessen and Nicol-Jones squabble over that second place. So the cars up towards turn 1. There, on track, McLaren 77. In the pits is 78. And 78 will go ahead on the pit stop. So that's good news. Another place gained. So number 78, Josh Rattigan. Now, worryingly, he was about 3 tenths short on the pit stop. And he was yesterday as well. And you can only use your joker once over the weekend. We'll wait and see what comes out of that. But at the moment, 78 then is ahead of 77. But was a little bit short on the pit stop. And a spin, not for the leader, but for the sister car. That is the solo Julien Rippert at the wheel. The lead Audi goes through, puts a lap on the speed car entry, and then bails for the pit lane. In he comes. The McLarens then have got to try and push on, and as they come out of the hairpin, 77, 78 running together, and the 77 car, Alex Denning, now ahead of Josh Rattigan. So he's got himself back ahead, even though he was behind after the pit stops, has retaken the place, and that illustrates no team orders, doesn't it? The 2 cars fighting for position. No call came to say hold station, as now Benjamin Lariche gets ready to take over from Robert Consony. Car stops, door open. Robert Consony gets out. Takes his little cushion with him. Benjamin Lariche ready to jump on board. And there is a 5-second pit stop penalty going the way of Pedro Ibrahim for track limit abuses. I think I'd said he was on 6 warnings. Also going quickly, now that he's taken over his Mercedes, Luke Ibanez, number 15, fastest first sector. This is Josh Rattigan's view, staring at the back of Alex Denning. They were 2nd and 3rd yesterday, the 2 McLarens. The pit window is now closed, so if you've not been in to serve the stop, you're too late. You can be serving the stop, but you've got to be in. Right, here are the McLarens. Now, what are they going to do in relation to the team speed car Audi? We'll have a look in a moment as it accelerates away. Down the pit road goes Benjamin Lariche. So he starts to accelerate out of the pit lane, but it's, of course, a slow turn 1. You blend back in at 2, and the McLarens are going to be, I would offer you 4th and 5th, because there's a BMW, there's a Mustang. So yeah, 4th and 5th. That means that 77 has lost out really on the pit stops, even though it retook the place against 78. It looks like it was a slower pit stop for Alex Denning's car. A 1 minute 14.7. It wasn't a bad stop at all, but certainly in this very, very competitive race, a few tenths really do matter. That said, quite a few around him were fractionally under and having to use their joker. Robert Consigny, after some hot work, cooling himself down, and he will now focus on watching Benjamin Lariche trying to rebuild that lead. Luc Ibanez, fastest lap of the race. So as the race leaders turn out of the hairpin, turn 13, number 78, Josh Rattigan, losing a place to his teammates, the very, very racy looking Alex Denning, and also, of course, losing places to others once they'd blended back in after the pit stops. The Mustang of Will Moore there, that picked up some front damage yesterday, and after Matt Nicol-Jones, really good first stint, pressure's on Will to deliver now, but he's got Denning crawling all over the back of him with just under 19 minutes to go. There's Ricardo van der Ende, Will Moore behind. And now Josh Rattigan coming up to have a go at Alex Denning, the two McLarens absolutely together. Behind them is Jamie Day as well in 82. Goes a little bit wide, having taken over that Racing Spirit of Le Mans car from Mathieu Villagomez. So pit stops all done. Now we'll start to worry about whether any penalties are due from people's pit stop times, and therefore whether they've committed an infringement by being short on that pit stop. Will Moore comes now through turn 27, fending off the hard-charging Alex Denning, who tries to get up the inside, but the McLaren is going to have demon aero to combat all of the grunt of that Ford Mustang in a straight line as they come now once again past the pits. Josh Rattigan, 5th. That's good enough for the championship. Doesn't have to overtake. Could even be overtaken by the Aston Martin behind. Better to give away a place than get yourself in a battle that could put you in any jeopardy and then just sit on the trail of cars that's ahead. Alex Denning, in the meantime, is all over Will Moore, who's got better and better and better over his time in GT4 racing as well, former Aston Martin racer. And as the cars now swing their way out of turns 5 and 6, the two McLarens together. Track limit warning still coming thick and fast. And this is one of the key areas, turn 11, where the drivers go way over that white line and all the wheels are up the curb. So with Ricardo van der Ende 2nd, this is 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th together. Josh Rattigan 5th, kind of putting himself in a bit of jeopardy here. He does not need to be in a battle. He could afford just to let that Aston Martin go, sit on the tail, rather than have to be thinking about attacking and defending. As long as he's 6th, that's good enough. He can worry about defending if anybody else were to catch, but right now Rattigan is, as I say, kind of in jeopardy. He's trying to attack, he's trying to defend, he's in a battle pack, doesn't really need to do that. The championship would be his and Tom Leven's by 7 points if things stay as they are, with Lessan and van der Ende currently 2nd in the race, heading for 3rd in the championship. Down to turn 22 they come. Right, there are penalties coming. One is for number 33 for being short on the pit stop, and another is for Julien Ripert, the solo driver in his Audi. 33 is the Jean-Paul Dominici Alpine, and there, through on the inside line goes Jamie Day. So that puts the Aston Martin ahead of the McLaren, but equally it puts Josh Rattigan where he is far safer, at the back of a train of cars, not having to defend from anybody, at least in the short term. Eric Evans is 7th, not that far behind, admittedly, but he can worry about defending from him in due course. The race has still 15.5 minutes to go as they come now up towards turns 1 and 2. Go left, go right. But champion-elect Josh Rattigan and Tom Leven 6th over the line. That is still good enough, as up front Robert Consigny and Benjamin Lariche with Lariche at the wheel, leading by very nearly 4 seconds. They have got a much bigger lead this side of the pit window than they did before it. But it's going to be interesting to see what Lariche can do, because he wasn't really as quick yesterday as Consani. So let's see whether he can hang on to that big gap. How about this for two-wheeling? That is the Van der Ende and Lessen BMW in second place. Brilliant shot, that of the car clouting the curb, and it just acts as a ramp, flicks it up onto two wheels. Watch that at normal speed. It doesn't look anything at all, does it? But in super slow-mo, really well captured that. You see how much up on the two wheels it was, and then the load that goes through the car, the impact the car takes as it returns to terra firma. Now, having said that Josh Rattigan was safer being at the back of this little group, he's still on the attack, isn't he? Putting the pressure on Villa Gomez. He wants to go as quickly as he can, and to do that, he doesn't really want cars ahead of him. He knows that the Eric Evans Mustang is closing. The McLarens have been slightly curious this weekend. Certainly number 78 has. Took pole position for yesterday's race, but never reflected that pace again. And Will Moore hanging on to third place, having his best showing of the season, unquestionably. That car going really well at one of the most challenging circuits for man and machine. And Will Moore doing a really good job. In Pro-Am, in the meantime, you've got Alban Varuti there as the class leader. And in third place is Finn Zulauf, and that's still enough with the demise of their rivals to give Zulauf and Kronberg the title, even though Zulauf, I think, would like to get himself up past Andy Cantu's Mercedes that he's taken over from Charles Dawson, and that may well yet happen because there's not much of a margin between them. Number 39, the Aston Martin there, David Kuhlmann. He's chasing after Alban Varuti. And down to turn 27 they come, laps ticking on down. And drama there for Jagish Gedich's BMW. It's been a pretty miserable weekend, really, for Borusan. One car out of this race, Gedich rejoining, but not quickly. That makes me think he's either hit something or has got a mechanical problem and has had to peel off the circuit. So that car in trouble. There is another driver being given a time penalty, and it is Alex Denning. Number 77 McLaren, a time penalty of 5 seconds for track limits. So they're the better placed of the two McLarens getting a time penalty. There's the confirmation out of race control, and Alex Denning with a time penalty is going to drop down at the order. Perversely, it helps number 78, doesn't it? Because it will buy back a position thanks to the penalty for its teammate without having to do any overtaking. But Alex Denning and Tom Empson, after a tough season with lots of bad luck, the bad luck of a different nature continues. Number 11 is still crawling around the blue BMW. The driver's being warned, the team's being warned that it's got as far as turn 25, and it's on the right-hand side of the road. There it is. And has it got a puncture? Has it got damage on the front right corner? Maybe. Does it look low? Yes, there's something. It's a puncture, isn't it? You can hear it flapping. So Jagish Gedich dragging the car back, and here are the leaders bearing down on him. This is turn 22. Will Moore ahead of the penalised Alex Denning, then Jamie Day, then Josh Rattigan. Fast approaching that stricken BMW that is limping round. Jamie Day to the outside line there as they drop down towards 27. He's not going to go all the way around the outside, is he? Yes, he is. He's going to have a go, certainly. And Jamie Day late on the brakes. There's the BMW, desperate for an apex. Doesn't want to get in the way, though. Jamie Day goes through, gets up the inside of the McLaren. So really good stint this by the quick Brit. Jamie Day goes by. And the Borusan BMW for the pit lane. Right, on board with Josh Rattigan. He comes across the line 6th. Still enough to win the championship, but only just. But Robert Constantine is getting away up the road now. 5.5 seconds to the good. I did wonder whether Van der Ende might be able to do anything about him, but last time he was over a second slower. So even though Lariche hasn't looked as quick as Constantine, right now he's absolutely flying. He was saying yesterday, Benjamin Lariche, that it had been a tough race given that he'd eaten something pre-race and felt horrible. Well, he put that behind him and went really well to lead in his stint, battled his way into the race lead today. Just had to bring it home. So the race leaders coming out of turn 10, and their yellow flag being waved and a green flag straight after it. So what has happened there that's necessitated a yellow flag. Can't see anything obvious. The McLarens there together, 78 through on the inside of 77, which is the one with the penalty. That looked as though that was a gift, didn't it? Don't think Alex Denning put up a massive amount of resistance there, as Jamie Day all over the back of Will Moore now, so it's almost like a British GT Championship GT4 battle this. Will Moore, Jamie Day, from then Josh Rattick and Alex Denning, the British and Irish drivers all getting themselves together, and Jamie Day is the man on an absolute mission. So we've got that yellow flag evident, a green flag virtually straight after it, and I couldn't see any evidence as to why that yellow was there, but it's come up, as you can see on the graphic, that the yellow is still out within sector 1. Whether it's a little bit of bodywork somewhere, we'll have to have another look. Wide goes Rattigan, slides his way off and back onto the racetrack. Lap 19 now. Race leaders accelerating to turn 27. Hard on the brakes, turn into the corner. So this, remember, is for third place. The top two, in fairness, getting away inexorably now because Robert Consigny, Benjamin Lariche, with Lariche at the wheel, storming clear. There's another time penalty having just been issued to number 24, Porsche, which is the car of Julien Brichet and Jean-Laurent Navarro. This is for third place. Way up the curb goes the Mustang. That must have been a big whack to lift the Mustang off the ground. So Will Moore third, fourth on his tail is Jamie Day, then it's Rattigan ahead of Denning. Eric Evans is almost with them seventh, and Luc Ibanez is almost with them in eighth place. Now they're heading, aren't they, to that yellow flag zone. Is there anything obvious as they come back into view? Jamie Day hustles on in pursuit of Will Moore. Field now coming through turn 10. Up the curb they all step. Way out wide goes Eric Evans there. Now look, there's the yellow, there's the green. What is it that is triggering that yellow flag? Still being waved. I think there might be a car that's stopped between the two flags and it's sort of in an access point. That's why it's hidden from view. There's a car parked, as we understand it. This fight for third place, though, is becoming a very long line. In fairness to Will Moore, he's doing a really impressive job here. He hasn't got the pace to get away from Jamie Day, but he's not giving him a chance to really overtake. He's not cracked under the pressure, and he's hanging on to third place. The line of cars behind is getting longer because you've got Jamie Day, you've got Josh Rattigan and Alex Denning, and before long, Eric Evans and Luc Ibanez will be there. So third to eighth, all in a queue. 7 minutes and change on the clock now. The noise of the Mustang, and to a degree the noise of the Mercedes as well, sort of hangs between the concrete walls, doesn't it, here? The Mustang makes a fabulous sound anyway. Mercedes AMG rumbles its way past, but the Ford Mustang of Will Moore, the largely white and blue car, as opposed to the white and red of there, Eric Evans, last year's British GT4 champion, comes up out of turn 27. Nervous drivers looking on. Tom Leben heading to the championship in silver, potentially, looks on. Tom Empson likewise, as now Jamie Day tries to line up for a move. Thought better of it, wasn't close enough. So they turn their way out of turns 1 and 2. And into that heavy braking zone at the end of the pit straight comes Alban Varouti. The car ever so slightly getting away from him there, just had a little bit of a squirm as he hit the brake. That survives the moment, and in turn is keeping the traffic at bay. David Kuhlman's Aston, Vinny Beltramelli, who's got that time penalty, number 24, is next in the queue. And there is Finn Zulauf. Now he is third in Pro-Am. That should still be enough to take the championship. The way that Zulauf is going, look, at a sort of 95% pace, keeping away from anybody, doesn't want to get involved in a battle at all, illustrates he's thinking about this, playing the points game, and knows exactly what has to be done to win a championship. Got one or two more drivers on a final warning for track limits, but it does not affect the overall lead situation, that's for sure. There's nobody there with a Damocletian investigation, for example. More of them going wide and skipping up the curb. In Am, the green Aston is there leading the class at the moment. Kevin Jimenez and Florent Grisot. They've been victorious already this year in the GPA Racing Aston. It's a car that runs not only in Europe but in the French Championship as well. And for David Pouget's team, they won at Misano. And this could well be a second victory of the season. At the moment, Jimenez looking for a way, the former Clio racer, looking for a way past Gabriel Jelkova, who came out of the GT4 scene in Germany. And the field here blasting once more down to turn 27. And a big, big dive there from Josh Rattigan to try to find a way back ahead of Jamie Day. Now, he didn't need to be doing things like that, but he saw a gap, thought about it, and committed, and then realised it wasn't on, but just needs to sit tight and win the championship here. Things like that could all start to make things unravel if he's not careful. The McLaren past the pits with 4.5 minutes to go now. Brakes for turn 1. Meantime, Benjamin Lariche can do no more than he is doing. He's leading by 7.6 seconds, and Eric Evans getting up the inside and gets sideways as well as he hits the throttle. It was alongside Alex Denning who blocks him, and now Ibanez in the background has a go at the Mustang as well. So as I say, Lariche just getting away all the time. He can do no more, really. Point for pole for that team, the points for the race win, but as long as Rattigan stays where he is, or indeed within the top 8, the title will go away from that Audi. They've had a really tough season, what with punctures, damage, penalties. The fact that they're even fighting for the championship at all is pretty exceptional, and it was a double win at Monza that really gave them that. Right, there's another brace of time penalties that are coming. One is to Simon Birch, number 40 Porsche, for track limits. Another is for number 28, as you see there, going toe-to-toe. Will Moore and Jamie Day for 3rd place, and it is the Mustang just ahead as they come towards us. Stays ahead as well. The pit stop for Alban Varuti, the Pro-Am leader, is under investigation. We've got a Saudi racing Aston, Rima Jafali, under investigation, being given a 5-second penalty as well for track limits. So the race lead cars at 27, the 3rd place battle coming out of 24 now. There's another one being given a penalty, they're coming thick and fast. Yeah, Alban Varuti, 5-second time penalty for a pit stop infringement, so the Pro-Am leader will be given a penalty. That's better news again for Zulauf and Kronberg, because they'll potentially gain a place at the end of the race. Hard on the brakes, down through the gears goes Josh Rattigan, Jamie Day ahead, and the snaking Mustang just up ahead. The Mustang now gallops its way up towards the timing line in the hands of Will Moore, still 3rd. Ricardo van der Ende 2nd in the BMW there, rather in no man's land. He's not being caught, nor is he catching Robert Consigny for the race lead. So 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, small gap, 7th, 8th, come through turn 2. And the race now with 2 minutes and a bit on the clock. They might, yeah, for the leader, they can squeeze this and one more out of the race. But Will Moore for 3rd place, if you can hang on in there, it'll be quite a drive. As I say, the best that we have seen out of Will in GT4, I reckon. And on one of the toughest circuits, new to everybody as well. So to deliver in the way that he's doing, with all that pressure, with the wall so close, without putting a wheel wrong, very, very impressive indeed. He's got to do it for a lap and a half more, give or take. Eric Evans, in the meantime, has fallen back from the McLaren duel and is rather busy trying to fend off Luc Ibanez now, as again Josh Rattigan pulls out of the draft of Jamie Day and then thinks better of it as they tilt their way through the turn 13 hairpin. Got to say that the 2 races we've had this weekend have been a really good advert for GT4 European Series competition. Great mix of cars, some really close racing, plenty of excitement, and lots of guessing games as to who's going to come out on top. Will Moore, still 3rd, keeps Jamie Day, Josh Rattigan at bay. Rattigan's car good through the corners, but he's against cars with so much grunt, front engine, brute force from the Mustang and the Vantage. Down they come now towards turn 22 once more. You look at the concrete, you listen to the Mustang, you could almost be at an Australian supercars race given the noise. Many street circuits that they run there. Through turns 22 and 23, in the background was going Eric Evans, still having to defend and therefore losing touch with this battle pack up the road. But with half a minute on the clock, the race leaders are heading towards the timing line, but it's all eyes on this. Third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Down they come towards the braking zone for turn 27. Ratigan again stands on the anchors, goes down through the box. Leaders up to the line, and with about probably 15 seconds to spare, they're going to get another lap out of the race. Leaders go through. So Constantly and Lariche 10 seconds clear of Lessen and Van der Ende, and then it's still Will Moore for third place. Can Will Moore hang on to it for one more lap? He deserves to. He has driven really impressively here. Go right, go left, out of turns 1 and 2. Start the last lap of the race. The car that's attacking is Jamie Day's Aston Martin, which has nothing to lose. Then there's Josh Ratigan, who's got a lot to lose. So as a nervous Tom Leben looks on, Josh Ratigan can't really afford to get too carried away. If an opportunity presents, well, okay, but there's no point forcing the issue when there is a championship there, almost now within touching distance. Jamie Day using an awful lot of curb, and he gets up the inside of Will Moore, and a little bit of hip and shoulder forces the Mustang wide, and Jamie Day goes through on the last lap, and straight away that's going to put Will Moore off his stride. He just about regroups in time to keep Ratigan at bay, but he's off the podium, which is a real shame. Jamie Day goes through. Day third, Moore fourth, and then it's Ratigan ahead of Denning for fifth and sixth. They come off the hairpin for the last time in this GT4 European Series race, this GT4 European Series season. Last round of the championship then, here in the Saudi sunshine. Jamie Day a little bit deep into turn 16, but he will survive the moment. Now Josh Ratigan tries to see whether he can gain a place. Not there, he can't. He might be brave on the outside coming off the hairpin, but around here, that Mustang has got so much grunt, it's going to be very, very hard to find a way past. Brake hard through turn 22, but while all this is going on for third and fourth and fifth, Benjamin Lariche is heading towards the line. He started this last lap with about 22 seconds to spare, and the checkered flag is ready. Here they come then for a fourth win of the season, and to do the double for the second meeting in a row. Benjamin Lariche and Robert Constantly will win the final round of the GT4 European Series, powered by RAFA Racing Club. A great weekend, a great result. It's not enough for the championship, though, as Ricardo van der Ende and Benjamin Lessen will come through for second. Third will go the way, in the end, of Jamie Day and Mattia Villagomez from Will Moore and Matt Nicol-Jones. And then for fifth place, the new champions in silver, Josh Ratigan and Tom Leben. Sixth, Alex Denning and Tom Emson from Eric Evans and Marco Signoretti. And eighth place goes to Luc Ibanez and Alex Papadopoulos from the last on the grid. So that was quite a stint early doors by Papadopoulos to really haul the car up the order. There are your Pro-Am champions, Finn Zulauf and Max Kronberg, who celebrates not on the pit wall but in the pit garage. And a delighted team after a broken car had to be towed back yesterday. The championship is theirs. You can see how much it means to Max Kronberg and to the rest of that W&S Motorsport team. The same was true at Elite Motorsport. A bit of relief, I think, mixed with happiness. And there is Tom Leben, who has taken the crown. And the two McLarens line up side by side on the in-lap. So there may be one or two further penalties to be applied post-race, but we'll come to that shortly as a very, very happy elite team continues the celebrations. Jody Fannin with the headset on. Very quick racer himself, but driver coach for Elite these days. Somewhere is the team principal Eddie Ives, but lost him briefly. But it's quite a result to come and take on the best of Europe. That's quite something for the British team, and they have had an up and down kind of a year. The cars have always had good speed, even if the results have been mixed, but they've been able to bank points, and the championship rounds out the year in fine style. And you can see there, Josh Ratigan has slowed right down, even to the point that the rather worried marshal put the white flag out to warn people of how much slower he was going, but savouring the moment on his way to the pit lane. Right up against the wall, making sure there's as much pickup as possible to help with the weight of the car, the ride height of the car. In Pro-Am then, in the end, it was a win on the road for Alban Varuti from Alban Varuti and Julien Piguet from Andy Cantu and Charles Dawson, but with the penalty applied, that is reversed. So Cantu and Dawson take the win. Varuti and Piguet second, and third to Kronberg and Zulauf. And in AM, Kevin Jimenez and Florent Grisot, the winners from Anthony Duban and Jean-Mathieu Leandri. And then third for the podium, it will be Rima Jafali, along with Ahmed bin Kanan as well. What a race, what a season for the GT4 European Series, and a win for number 3 in the race, but the title to 78 McLaren, then playing that points game all the way through. We'll know that here from our race winners. We might hear from some very happy champions as well post-race. First up, though, the drivers come to the pit lane, and the first attention will be to the race results. There's our other set of champions, Finn Zulauf, WNS Motorsport, plus Max Kronberg, busy celebrating in the pit lane. So after all the drama, all of a sudden everything seems to go quiet around the circuit, and it's as though the entire championship suddenly has a big sigh of relief. Oh, we're done, end of the season. And those teams that have got through without drama will be very pleased about that. But there are the race winners then. A fourth of the season for Robert Consani and Benjamin Lariche. Out gets Benjamin. Race win is theirs. The message will have come through that we've not won the championship, but we've taken the race win, so that's great, well done. And Robert Consani has a lot to say about that because of his excellent first stint. There were penalties for them over the course of the season, punctures, damage, retirements, all sorts thrown at them, but they were still in there and fighting, and they never gave up, which is great to see. Benjamin Lecen and Ricardo van der Ende with a vibration, I think you can judge from Ricardo's body language there. And Benjamin Lariche and Robert Consani in discussion with the team. Team Speed Car, which is Pascal Destembert's squad. There for a podium on the last lap, Jamie Day arrives with Mattia Villagomez in the background. Benjamin Lariche walks around the front of the Audi. So the French driver, who was a real fan of the circuit when he was talking about yesterday's race, I think will be an even bigger fan now, as Robert Consani was about to clamber up the car, only to be reminded, no. There is Gabrielle Yilkova, Cindy Goudet. Now, have they gained a place in their class? We'll worry about that in a second. Let's just hear from our race winners, Benjamin Lariche and Robert Consani.
Benjamin, Robert, first of all, congratulations on an exceptional season. You've come through so many difficulties to win today.
Yeah. It's happy. I'm happy because it's 4 races on the row, so it means we had the performance to be champion. So we'll see what's happened, but I think we are a little bit far away. But yeah, the season was very strong for the team. They work a lot, and yes, the finish of the season was very strong. So thanks for the team, and thanks to the GT4, thanks to SRO, thanks to Jeddah circuit, because it was a particularly memory moment. So yes, thank you.
It was so special to watch both of you show your talents on a brilliant circuit. You were both absolutely incredible.
Yeah, for sure. Between the wall, we are so quick, and the team speaker made a really good job until the beginning. He make a perfect setup on the car. I'm very happy with the car. The car is incredible. Our Audi is perfect, and yes. Thank you to SRO, thank you for everybody, thank you for the organization, thank you for Jeddah. And see you, I hope see you next year.
Well done, guys. Thank you very much.
They have been mainstays of the front of the grid. Robert Consigny and Benjamin Lariche. A title perhaps is in the post, but we'll see what happens next year. And bearing in mind the Audi R8 is one of the older cars on the grid, and certainly not the most popular anymore. It has done them proud this season. Go back a good 5 or 6 seasons, there were quite a few GT4 spec R8s. Far fewer now, but still competitive. Well, there is a delighted Josh Rattigan. There's Eddie Ives on the left, saying come out of there, getting his mechanic out of Parc Fermé. And a really happy team. Celebrations all round for Tom Leben and Josh Rattigan. Josh with the earring next to us. There's Tom Leben. And we might be able to hear from them in a moment. Antonio is there. That's the classification in the championship. 7 points between the Brits and the 2 French drivers. We can eavesdrop, I guess, but we'll hear from them formally in a moment once they've got their Pirelli winners' caps on. Meanwhile, our race victors are still busy celebrating. Slide gracefully down the front of the Audi. And Pascal Destenber's team celebrating the race win. Right then, let's hear from our champions. They are Tom Leben and Josh Rattigan.
Josh, Tom, you were both absolutely incredible. Your closest competitor congratulating you. What a season.
Yeah, it was really good, to be honest. It was hard then. We really struggled in a straight line, but we just really had to bring it home. We knew we had to finish in the top 8, and we ended up 5th, I think. So, yeah, it was spot on, really.
Josh, really proving your point with your pace in that last stint as well.
Yeah, I definitely lied when I said it wasn't nerve-wracking before I went out. It was one of the hardest races we've done this year. Obviously, a massive well done to Tom, competitors that came in second, a massive thank you to Elite, McLaren, everyone. It's been an incredible year.
So well deserved. Go celebrate, guys.
Car had a bad start to the weekend, lost all power on Thursday, and they didn't go out at all for one of the test sessions, but the weekend has been turned around since then. And great result. Elite Motorsport came really to prominence in the UK in Ginetta Junior racing and then Senior Ginetta racing, made the switch up to single-seater racing and then to GT4 as well. It's come a long way in a very short space of time, and to win a European title like that is a big credit to Eddie Ives and his team. Well done, chaps. So there is the silver championship winning McLaren, the Altura of Josh Rattigan and Tom Leben, but we've also got Pro-Am champions, and they are Finn Zulauf and Max Kronberg, and they're with Antonio.
Finn, Max, beautifully executed today, our Pro-Am champions. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, this was really tough weekend. The car was 2 times in the wall, so the mechanics did a really good job putting everything together, so I'm really happy that we made it there.
Yeah, I think I've never had a weekend like that. Nearly totaling the car 2 times, and now in the end still winning the championship in the last race of the season. I think it's really emotional. Yeah, I just can thank the whole team. They did an incredible job over the weekend, over the whole season, but especially this weekend. And yeah, I'm super grateful for this team and for Max. He did an outstanding job the whole season, and especially also today. And yeah, really happy.
And on a weekend like this, on a circuit like this, it must have been so challenging and therefore that much more rewarding.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this track, I mean, we saw it. You're always close to the wall. Once you hit the wall, basically race is over, so you really have to get your stuff together. And it was a lot of fun. The atmosphere here was great, so I really enjoyed that we came to Jeddah this year.
Yeah, I can just agree. Awesome circuit, even though it was not too kind to us. But yeah, in the end we've made it, and that's all what matters.
Thanks so much, guys. Well done.
So the new Pro-Am champions making their way up to the podium. The podium ceremony will be getting underway shortly, and there you can see they are the champions by 14 points from Alexander Weintraub and Stanislav Safronov, who ended up in the wall with what looked like a suspension breakage very early in the race. So Max Kronberg, the financier, will join young gun Finn Zulauf on the podium for 3rd in the race, but as the category champions in season 2024. So the podium is being prepared. We have 3 podium ceremonies. We have, of course, AM, which in the end was won by Kevin Jimenez and Florent Grisot. And while we wait for everybody to make their way up there, let's have a look then at the provisional result. Benjamin Lariche and Robert Consony, the winners, from Ricardo van der Ende and Benjamin Lassen. Jamie Day third with Mattia Villa-Gomez. Will Moore fourth with Matt Nicholl-Jones losing out on the last lap. Josh Ratigan and Tom Levin fifth for the championship from Eric Evans and Marco Signoretti. Quick word about the seventh place team, because from the back of the grid, that's where Luke Ibanez and Alex Papadopoulos finished. Pro-Am, with the penalties applied, won by Andy Cantu and Charles Dawson, the Brit, who has a New Zealand licence for GT4 European Series purposes. And 20th is where you find the AM winners, namely Kevin Jimenez and Florent Grisot for GPA Racing, David Pouget's team. David himself a Clio champion, of course. And despite the dramas, not that many non-finishers, and only one, if you like, really sizable drama, and that was for Alexander Weintraub early on in the race. So, the drivers, as I say, will make their way to the podium. The championship calendar for next year will kick us off at Paul Ricard once more in the spring, and it's going to be interesting to see who goes where in terms of teams, cars, drivers, and indeed whether we have Josh Ratigan and Tom Levin defending their title. Rima Jafali will be on the podium this time around for third in AM. There she is. And great result for Rima and also for Ahmed bin Kanan, her co-driver. There he is. So everybody is ready, I think, and the SRO team marshalling the teams forward. We're going to start with Pro-Am, and that means we should, in a moment, as the drivers come forward, be able to cross to the podium, where the ceremony will be getting underway very shortly, and all the dignitaries there ready to present the trophies as well. So the drivers are waiting their names to be called. And it's going to be Pro-Am where we start. There, Max Kronberg and Finn Zulauf for third step on the podium.
All right, a fantastic drive and a well-earned podium finish. Congratulations in third place. Securing second place, please give a big round of applause for Alban Varuti and Julien Piguet. Outstanding effort by Alban and Julien. Congratulations, second place. And now the moment we have been waiting for, ladies and gentlemen, the winners of the Pro Amateur category. First of all, please welcome the winning team representative, NM Racing Team. Congratulations. And now the winning team, please welcome Andy Cantu and Charles Dawson in first place. What an incredible performance. Winning the Pro Amateur category. Congratulations in first place. Andy and Charles, great job. What an incredible performance. Now, as we honor these incredible achievements, please stand for the national anthem of the winning team. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's present the trophies to our winners. First, let's welcome Mr. Khalid Walid Al-Sudan, CEO of Saudi Automobile and Motorcycle Federation, to present the third place team trophy. Congratulations. Well deserved. And now let's welcome Mr. Fahad Al-Aqil, Saudi Automobile and Motorcycle Federation Board member, who will now present the second place team trophy. Great job by the winning team in second place, and please, let's welcome now His Royal Highness Prince Talal bin Mohammed Al Abdullah Al Faisal, Saudi Motorsport Company Board member, to hand the first place representative trophy. Thank you, Royal Highness. Let's now welcome His Royal Highness Prince Khalid bin Sultan Al Abdullah Al Faisal, Chairman of Saudi Automobile and Motorcycle Federation and Saudi Motorsport Company, to hand over the winners, our pro-amateur champions, their trophies. Congratulations. Andy Cantu and Charles Dawson, congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the official photo. Raise your trophies, smile, and enjoy. And now it is time to celebrate. I would like to ask the delegates to exit the podium for the celebration. Our champions.
And the celebrations underway in Pro-Am, who are quite regularly the first podium up, so they get some of the glory. And Andy Cantu and Charles Dawson together. There is Charles, as I say, British driver, but he has a New Zealand licence when he races abroad. And in the end of the season, it was Finn Zulauf and Mats Kronberg who took the title from Alexander Weintraub and Stanislav Safronov, Noah Abramczyk and Paul Petit third. Greg Gilbert and Anthony Debarn fourth. Greg Gilbert not here this weekend, and Anthony Debarn racing in Am with a different co-driver, Jean-Mathieu Leandri, so scoring points in Pro-Am up to this weekend. Julien Brichet fifth with Jean-Laurent Navarro and Cindy Goudet and Gabriela Yelkova rounding out the top six. So a really enjoyable season of racing from GT4 European Series. Lots of great battling we've seen all year within the Pro-Am category. And we've got the silvers and the AMs on that podium still to come. Mats Kronberg, race winner outright last year, and he had Henrik Still as his co-driver, new partner for this year, and a successful relationship with young gun Finn Zulauf netting that championship. So the podium then will be prepared, ready for the next three teams. And of course the fans trackside, and indeed other teams in the pit lane all getting themselves ready for the start of the final round of Fanatec GT World Challenge Europe, powered by AWS Endurance Cups. 6 hours of drama around this fantastic circuit. Let's go back to the podium.
Emerging talents and seasoned racers collide in a spectacular display of motorsport excellence. In third place, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jamie Day and Matteo Villagomez. Congratulations. Placing in third place. Fantastic driving from this team. Great job. In second place, let's hear it for Ricardo van der Ende and Benjamin Lessens. Coming in second place, Ricardo and Benjamin, outstanding performance throughout the race. And now your first place team representative, let's welcome Team Speed Car. All right, congratulations, the Team Speed Car. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for our winners, the silver champions, Benjamin Lerich and Robert Consani. Coming in first place, a well-deserved victory, Benjamin and Robert. Congratulations on this victory. Yes, there we go. All right. As we celebrate this victory, we'd also like to recognize the rookie driver of the race, Cindy Goudet, for the remarkable achievement. Cindy, please come on the podium. Congratulations. Rookie driver of the race. Congratulations to all. And now please rise as we play the national anthem of the winning team. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's present the trophies to our winners please welcome Mr. Khalid Aswedan, CEO of Saudi Automobile and Motorcycle Federation, to present the third place team trophy. Congratulations to the racers, placed third. Thank you so much. Now, Mr. Fahad Al Aqil, one more time to present the second place team trophy. Presenting the second place team trophy. Congratulations. And now welcoming His Royal Highness Prince Talal bin Mohammed Al Abdullah Al Faisal to hand the first place team representative trophy. And finally, for the winners, please welcome His Royal Highness Prince Khalid bin Sultan Al Abdullah Al Faisal to hand the drivers their silver champions trophies. Congratulations. A well done victory. Congratulations to the winners in first place, handing over the trophies now. And it is time, ladies and gentlemen, for the official photo. All right, raise the trophies. It is time for the photo. Congratulations to all the winners. Also welcoming Mr. Mansour Al-Miqbil, CEO of Saudi Motorsport Company, to present the Rookie Driver Trophy. Let's take one more official photo again with the Rookie Trophy. All right, congratulations. Let's bring the energy up as we celebrate with music. Let's hear it for our silver podium winners.
Well, 4 wins on the bounce is quite something, isn't it, for Robert Consigny and Benjamin Lariche? And the Audi drivers victorious here. Not quite enough to take the championship, but even so, a mighty weekend. And to do the double anywhere in GT4 European Series has been pretty tough over the years. To do it 2 meetings on the bounce is really impressive, and especially to do it here on a brand new venue. We never really heard from Robert Consigny whether or not his rally background did help threading his way between the walls, but he ends up 7 points back from Josh Rattigan and Tom Leben, with Benjamin Lariche then to be the runners-up in the championship. Elite Motorsport with entire race engineering taking the title with Josh Rattigan and Tom Leben. Consigny and Lariche second, and Benjamin Lessan and Ricardo van der Ende third. Fourth, Luc Ibanez and Alex Papadopoulos, race winners this year. Jamie Day, Mattia Villa-Gomez fifth, and the outgoing champion Gabriele Piana sixth, switching to the Borusan Automotive Motorsport team with Berke Beschler. And a tough weekend, quite a lot of damage sustained by that car over the last 3 days. And the people that won the opening race, Enzo Juliet and Etienne Shelley, 7th, and that was it really. It was a frustrating season where the pace could never quite be replicated, even though they were always, to use that awful phrase, there or thereabouts. So GT4 European Series action concluded for this weekend at the Jeddah Corniche circuit, and the AM podium is almost ready because the dignitaries are back, the podium is being dressed ready, and the drivers patiently waiting with a second win of the year for Florent Grisot and
the recognition they deserve.
Kevin Jimenez. Let's go back to the podium.
In third place, we have Rima Jaffali and Ahmed Ben Khnain. All right, a fantastic drive. Well done, Rima and Ahmed. Coming. They got their fans, okay. In second place, please welcome Anthony DeBarn and John Matthew Leandre. What a strong performance throughout the race. Congratulations. Coming in second place. And now your AM category champions, team representative, GPA Racing. Congratulations. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the winners in first place, please give it up for Kevin Jimenez and Florent Grisot. Incredible work. Congratulations to all the winners for the amateur category as we celebrate these victories. Please stand for the national anthem of the winning team. Present the trophies to our winners. Of course, yes, congratulations to all the teams on the podium. Please welcome Mr. Mansour Al-Mekbet to present the third place team trophy. Congratulations to Rima and Ahmed. Well deserved. All right, let's please welcome Mr. Khalid Swaydan to present the second place team trophy, please. Welcoming back Mr. Fahad Al-Aqil to hand the winning team representative their trophy. And now welcoming His Royal Highness Prince Talal bin Mohammed Al Abdullah Al Faisal to hand over our first place and winning drivers their amateur champions trophies. Give it up for first place, please. All right, time for the official photo. Smile, everyone. Raise your trophies and smile. There you go. All right. Let's celebrate, ladies and gentlemen, one last time. Let me ask the delegates to exit the podium before the celebration. And it is time for music and the celebration.
And the final podium then of the season as far as our drivers are concerned. Championship trophies will be presented in a few weeks' time at the annual SRO Awards presentation. But for Florent Grisot and Kevin Jimenez, they've spent much of the year chasing after the Alpine of Laurent Hergon and Pascal Houteau. That in that race, we didn't really see quite what it did, but it had problems and lost a lap relatively early on. But in the championship, it was Hergon and Houteau well clear. Remember, they'd won the title at Monza. Florent Grisot and Kevin Jimenez then taking second. Andy Cantu, who's had a variety of co-drivers and indeed a variety of classes, because we've already seen him in Pro-Am winning there. He was third in the AMS. Fourth, Julien Ripper, drove on his own. Jean-Mathieu Leandri, fifth, having been with Anthony de Barn this weekend. And the absent Michael and Christopher Brunhagen from Toyota Gazoo Racing Sweden rounded out the top six. It's been a really good year of racing, but the efforts of Hergon and Houteau very impressive indeed in AM. Let's have a quick look then at what went on in the last GT4 European Series race of the year. From pole position after the grid drop penalty to Robert Consonny, it was the Alex Denning and Tom Emson McLaren that powered into an early lead as Tom Levitt just had to keep out of trouble. But as ever, Benjamin Lariche and Robert Consonny on their toes, and Consonny wriggled his way up through the pack to get himself eventually into the lead of the race. And having done so, the race ended up being neutralised after we had a sizable accident for Alexander Weintraub, the car having a suspension failure, pitching him into the wall at high speed coming out of turn 16, and that necessitated a full course yellow and a safety car. And with the front splitter dragging on the ground, eventually into the pit lane, and retirement came Gabriele Piana. Robert Consonny gave way to Benjamin Lariche. Paolo Maloney had a big lock-up, chasing the safety car into turn 22. And when we went back racing, one of the real stars of the second stint was Jamie Day, who hauled 82 Aston Martin up eventually into third place. He had to get himself up through the traffic as the second Borusan BMW limped to the pit lane. Jamie Day sat about Wilmore, and on the last lap of the race managed to make his way through for third position. Robert Consigny and Benjamin Lariche winning for the second time this weekend. 4 race wins in a row, 2 doubles on the bounce. But by being in the top 8, it was the silver title for 78 McLaren of Josh Rattican and Tom Levin. Max Kronberg and Finn Zulauf delighted with Pro-Am title honours, and Robert Consigny and Benjamin Lariche race winners for the 4th time this season to round out a great year of racing.